Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back and it is time for another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 AI bot match. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's on Grezven. And it's actually got a bot that I don't believe I've cast too many times before, but a very cool name nonetheless. It's Dodo. And taking on Dodo, it's going to be Spuddle, who I definitely have cast a couple of times. And so, yeah, definitely going to be an exciting match. A Terran versus Zerg on the map Grezven, the AI edition, a TVZ, the classic StarCraft 2 matchup, I think. But it's a bot versus bot, so the rules are a little bit different here today with these competitors, on account that, you know, they don't have lungs or a brain or a nervous system, but in a way they do kind of have their own nervous system. So anyway, let's see as this game gets started. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, hit that like button. You guys always blow it away. On our last video, I think we got like 60 likes, so I think if we can hit like 130,000 or so on this video, that would be great. So go ahead and slap that like button. Leave a comment down below that says more bots. That does a lot for the YouTube algorithm, and you know, it lets me know that you want to see more of these awesome AI matches. Consider becoming a YouTube member. You can check the join button and see the various perks that you can get for that. Join the Discord and subscribe and hit that bell icon if you haven't already. And then, not really a promo or anything, I just want to say shout out to all those bot authors who send in these awesome games. As they're developing their bots, I'm sure they see lots of wacky stuff, but to post them in the SC2 AI Discord, it allows them to be shown to me and you guys. So that's awesome. Now, this game is progressing forward like a pretty normal TVZ. If I was to not look at the APM of these guys, I'd say, yeah, it's probably a human playing so far. Until maybe this Reaper control starts, I imagine. Even so, though, it's not too much random clicks, and the Reaper comes into the main base of Dodo. Gonna be able to get one drone, potentially a second, as drones were just pulled right after this Reaper, so that's a really good start. No, a third drone is gonna go down. Poor Dodo. There's an obvious joke there with that one as these Lings try and chase it away. And we don't see this too much in TVZs, I don't think. And the Reaper actually does perish there, so that makes it a little bit better. But still, losing 3 drones, the mining time of them being pulled, that's pretty darn painful for Dodo. However, I'm excited to see where this game's going to go, as it does have a ridiculously fast lair coming up after this. It's foregone Ling speed and is getting out a double gas lair. So literally the quickest lair you can get in a StarCraft 2, just as a Zerg, basically. And so that's really exciting to see. Then while this is going on, Spuddle is going for its strong macro play, while the Zerg is going for its basically no macro play. So whatever cheese this is going to be, I'm really curious. It's got a high amount of Zerglings, so I'm wondering if that's going to be the case. It fires up Ling speed. Is it going to be a Nidus or a Spire? I do wonder. There's got to be some tech, some kind of reason for this. You don't just make this big spiky thing for no reason. And so now we see the Marine count building up for Spuddle at its natural base, as it's got 2 barracks producing Stim Pack on the way, which is always exciting to see a bot, how it utilizes that. And then we see Spuddle saying starting, ending, offensive, a little bit of indecision right there. Still just produce no bio. Getting a Marauder on the way, a little bit interesting. Not too surprising, though, seeing as how there is a high amount of roaches. More roaches from bots than there is in regular Terran versus Zergs. And now this lair still has yet to be used for anything. Dodo is just making Lings. Now it's still mining a high amount of gas, actually. So I'm just wondering about the strategy of this bot. What it's going to be doing with this. Like making Lings, making drones. Now it's making a spine crawler. Okay, this officially makes 0 sense. And so we'll see what this bot author's been planning, or whether Dodo's kind of just whacking its way through the jungle, figuring out what it wants to do. And now, there we go. There we have it. A Spire on the way. Now, as far as the build's concerned, that is a ridiculously late Spire in comparison to the lair, and not efficient macro-wise. It does kind of make you wonder why it would go for such a fast lair. Like, that's got to have been almost 2 minutes or so ago. Maybe a minute and a half. But, yeah, so that's a lot later than you'd think it would need to be. Unless you're going to start the Spire right away, you may as well invest the resources in other things, adjust the timing on your build, potentially get a third hatch. But anyway, now we see Dodo going to be facing the heat as Spuddle is crossing the map with this Marauder with all these Marines. There are Queens here, so they can potentially transfuse, and it looks like Spuddle says that's enough of that, and it's going to go on home. Now, it does have a Banshee with Cloak, so it can go for some harassment with that. In theory, if there's spores and there's going to be a Mutas out in probably about 20 seconds, then this Banshee won't do too well for itself. The Overseer is also locked onto this Banshee. That's good to see. Queens are repositioning, so this Banshee will just go down, so that harassment gets shut down. Now, if this was a normal TVZ, you'd say, oh, the Terran scouted that it's a Spire, but whether Spuddle has got special behavior for that programmed in or not will remain to be seen. And odds are it probably doesn't have anything super specific. It might have a response to air units, who knows, maybe it'll start making Vikings. But oh my gosh, look at that, it starts firing up turrets. That is beautiful. Yeah, I guess I just didn't expect too big of a reaction out of Spuddle, because mutas are pretty rare in these bot ZVTs. And so I didn't expect Spuddle to have too much work put into it. It does have 2 turrets put up in interesting locations, none in the mineral lines really, but now we're going to be seeing Spuddle have to chase down these mutas. How well is the muta control of Dodo? In theory, a bot can micro mutas with perfection, but so far they're kind of just being zoned out. Baiting out a couple auto turrets is nice, but they're not really getting into the main. There's a few Marines that are now being engaged by Lings out on the map. The Marines are spreading beautifully, kiting with maximum efficiency, it seems, though. And oh, Muta's actually flying over some of those Marines. We saw one of the Mutts die there. They've now almost made it into the main base. They're really keeping a lot of this bio busy. Lings try and blitz the natural. There's a few in the third. There is 1 or 2 in the natural there. I guess just yeah, attacking behind that refinery. It took me a second. I'm like, I hear that thing, but I don't see it. So now, as we look, those mutas, they've been pushed back away from the main. 2 of them have gone down. They're just not able to engage Marines here, and they are taking heat. And that's not looking too good for Dodo. I think Dodo is a bot that does make a lot of mutas. Maybe I did cast it ages ago. Just make mass mutas, mass Lings, or maybe just mostly mutas. We'll see, though. As, yeah, I mean, Dodo is going to have to deal with this Banshee coming into its main base. Queens are repositioning. There's a muta chasing that down, so good behavior there. The rest of these mutas are still pinned by these Marines. Spuddle investing a lot of resources to trap these, and all of a sudden the mutas do break out. They find a small section of Marines. Good call by Dodo to engage that, then getting on out of there. And we are seeing how these mutas can be efficient, but one of them goes down there, and kind of makes you wonder what the programming was there for it not to just run towards the very corner of the map. Now, Spuddle is going to have to deal with these mutas in its main base. We'll see if it's going to turn around, and it is. That's a darn big deal. A lot of its Marines are still just hanging out in the bottom of this corner trying to catch 2 Mutalisks. There's like 30 Marines assigned to 2 mutas. That's a bit overkill if you ask me. And so Dodo buying itself time as it pulls away this Terran army, but we do see Vikings that have been produced by Spuddle to help push these away. And then Dodo buying itself a bit of time, still on a very low worker count. Can probably deal with these Marines as they've been split up pretty well. Those 2 mutas still being chased around, but these Marines on the front probably will be dealt with. The problem is, though, that it is just a massive economy for Spuddle, whereas Dodo is just living life, just happily making mutas off of a very low economy, floating a ton of resources, mineral-wise, because it hasn't got its gas at its third base yet, and you just come on in. There is the turrets to help zone it out. The Vikings going to do their job too. A 4th base is on the way for Spuddle, and so while seeing Dodo's muta play is very exciting, this does seem reminiscent of the last time I saw one of its games. The Muta's kind of being trapped now. Vikings really helping zone them out. There is only 2 Vikings, but they've got range on the Mutas, so they can kind of just shoot them and prevent this hide in a corner strategy. These Mutts gonna have to get on out of there, and oh, there they go, flying right over the Marines. Painful day for Dodo. Muta's now hitting the 3rd base, getting some harassment off, but like, if Dodo just made drones right now, its production would be up so much. So from the very start of the game, we've seen a little bit of short or a little bit of lack of efficiency just from like how fast we got that layer. Dodo's saying well enough 611, whatever that means. I have no idea. 611 I guess is 611 seconds. 2-2s on the way though for Spuddle, so it's looking really good here as it's up on army supply. The Mutas are still running or are still flying around. Marines engaging the Queens. Queens not transfusing each other, it looks like, because they do have to be on creep for that. Ling's hitting the 4th base. Muta's still flying around, so buying a bit of time. But yeah, the lack of the gases being taken, you gotta feel, is really handicapping Dodo. It could throw up another 3 hatcheries right now if it had its macro going properly. Muta's getting pushed away by the Marines once again. Muta's hiding in the bottom corner, getting chased. How many of them have died this game? 11. And that's 2,200 resources lost, so that's a lot of efficiency they need to justify these losses. Another getting shot at by the Vikings. The Mutas are re-engaging, then they just get pushed on out of there. Drones having to be pulled against a handful of Marauders. There is 1 Muta to help deal with these, but it's going to take it a while to clean this up, and that's denied mining time on these drones at the 3rd. Mutas go back into the main base, engaging a few Marines, but the Marines have got good retreating behavior into those turrets. Dodo's having a real rough time. I mean, it's only down 30 army supply, which is well within the realm of acceptability for a TVZ. But when you're down bases to the Terran by 2 or 3, actually, that is not good. The Vikings force the Mutas to leave their corner. Good to see that Dodo does at least have behavior there, to not just keep running and getting shot by the Vikings, but it did just lose all its Mutas. It's now lost its 3rd base, and I think we're going to be seeing a bit of an anticlimactic end to this one, as I do not see a way Dodo can win this game. I'll definitely keep an eye out, though, if Dodo does get some more updates in regards to these matches, or in regards to just its programming. Could maybe be a little bit more efficient, and then who knows, maybe it would perform a lot better. Yeah, we see a few Marines, some Marauders coming on in. The Muta count is still at 25 somehow. It doesn't seem like it, I guess just because it's splitting them up all over the place. So really, I mean, a lot of Dodo's supply is in Mutas, but it's still down just a massive amount of bases. It's got no Lings, no upgrades for the no Lings that it has now. Drones are now being pulled into Marines and Marauders. There's a stream of Terran across the map. And these Mutas, yeah, they're still just being tied on up. So that's not looking good. Funnily enough, Dodo does have behavior to pull drones from the main, it looks like, into the fight. No one is saved from the draft. And so we will just be watching Dodo throwing whatever it can, continuously trying to micro these Mutas as it loses its natural base. Lost that reattempt at a 3rd it had. And, yeah. I mean, sometimes these bot games are a bit of a stomp. Just goes to show how good Spuddle is. Dodo's just... The fact that it makes Mutas is really exciting to watch. But, yeah, Spuddle, very good Terran bot, just taking all the bases, because why not? Wants to take all the bases so much, it's trying to double take this base. And, yeah. Hit that like button if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe, ring that bell icon, join the Discord. Consider becoming a YouTube member. That goes a long way to helping support these videos. I am kind of aiming, it's not an official goal, but I'm trying to aim for daily videos, and that really helps out with that. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. I will see you next time.